For more than a decade, golf fans around the world have been waiting for this day. No more speculation, no more what-ifs. It's finally happened. Rory McIlroy, the same man who watched his Masters dreams slip away in 2011, has completed what many are already calling the greatest comeback in the tournament's history. The green jacket is his at last. The story that once felt unfinished now has its fairy tale ending. After 11 long years without a major title and a series of crushing moments at Augusta, Rory has delivered the performance of a lifetime, a chapter now forever engraved in golf history. As CBS Sports broke the news moments after the final putt dropped, McIlroy wins 2025 Masters, becomes sixth to complete career Grand Slam after 11-year wait for fifth major. Let that sink in. Only 6 players in history have ever done it. This wasn't just a win, it was redemption. A raw, emotional, and deeply human triumph. A comeback built on heartbreak, grit, and relentless belief. This was bigger than the scoreboard, because for Rory McIlroy, the Masters has never been just another stop on the calendar. It's always been the one, the missing link, the ghost that haunted him every spring. The weight he couldn't shake. Every year, like clockwork, the question followed him to Augusta. Is this finally Rory's year? Will he complete the Grand Slam? And every year, the answer was heartbreak. But not this time. This wasn't a wire-to-wire runaway. It wasn't dominance. It was a dogfight. A Sunday filled with tension, twists, and swings that had fans around the world locked in, hearts racing with every shot. And let's be clear, this wasn't handed to him. Rory fought his way back, one shot at a time, one hole at a time, until he forced a playoff against Justin Rose, the final hurdle between him and history. Then came that putt, a birdie that felt destined, one that will be watched, remembered, and replayed for generations. But in truth, this moment, it's bigger than stats, bigger than the slam, bigger than golf. This was about the man, the journey, the redemption, the weight of expectation, the sting of past failures, the pressure from the media, the ache of personal disappointment. You could see it in his eyes as he walked. Up the 18th, you could hear it in his voice after the round. This win, this one, meant everything. From the heartbreak of 2011 to the triumph of 2025, Rory McIlroy's Masters journey feels like something out of a movie. And now, with the career Grand Slam finally complete, one question echoes louder than ever. How did he do it? What really happened on that final Sunday that flipped the script? How did a man once haunted by Augusta become its undisputed king? Stick around, because what unfolded on the final day of the 2025 Masters wasn't just a golf match. It was a moment of pure sporting magic. Before the glory, there was pain. Before the green jacket, there was a memory that refused to fade. Because for Rory McIlroy, Augusta National was never just another course. It was the battleground where he faced his demons, year after year. So let's rewind. The year was 2011. Rory was just 21.21 years old, leading the Masters heading into Sunday. The world watched as the boy wonder stepped onto the first tee on the verge of claiming his first green jacket. What followed was heartbreak. One of the most infamous meltdowns in major championship history. A back nine collapse that saw him shoot 80, from leader to tied for 15th, his dream unraveling in front of millions. From that moment on, Augusta wasn't just a course. For Rory, it was a ghost, a personal haunting that returned every spring. Yes, there were flashes of brilliance. In 2015, he finished T4. In 2018, he played in the final group alongside Patrick Reed. But once again, Sunday pressure took its toll. He had it all, the distance, the creativity, every shot in the book. But what he didn't have was peace. Not at Augusta. Because every time the Masters rolled around, so did the questions. Is this the year? Can Rory finally complete the Grand Slam? The media never stopped asking. The fans never stopped hoping. And Rory? He never stopped chasing. He could feel it. The pressure was relentless. The spotlight, unforgiving. This wasn't just about winning a golf tournament. It was about silencing the noise. Every press conference, every swing on a men corner, every missed chance, they piled. They weighed on him. Golf Digest put it best. It's been a long road back, and that road was littered with close calls, tears behind sunglasses, and an ever-growing chip on his shoulder. This wasn't about lost form. Rory won majors, 4 of them. He dominated the PGA Tour. He reached world number 1. He conquered the Open, the US Open, the PGA Championship. But the Masters, that stayed out of reach. And with every passing spring, that missing piece in his legacy grew heavier. What should have been the crown jewel became a haunting void. Rory wasn't just chasing a title, he was chasing redemption, chasing the version of himself the world once believed was inevitable. He was supposed to be that guy, the one who could walk the back 9 at Augusta on Sunday with confidence, not caution. That's why this win, this 2025 comeback, hit differently. It wasn't just about completing the Grand Slam. It was about everything it took to get back here. The mental scars, the near misses, the heartbreaks that stacked up over the years, the quiet battles no one saw, and now, finally, all of it. The pressure, the pain, the doubt. It's been released. But how did Rory McIlroy flip the script? How did he turn the weight of history into a moment of triumph and etch his name into the heart of Augusta forever? To understand that, we need to rewind. Sunday, April 13th, 2025. Augusta National. The moment the world had been waiting for. The moment Rory McIlroy had spent his whole career preparing for. Heading into the final round, the leaderboard was tight. No one was running away with it. Every shot mattered. Every mistake could be fatal, and what happened next shook Augusta to its core. Justin Rose sat atop the leaderboard at 11 under, with Rory McIlroy close behind. But these weren't just names on a leaderboard. They were history in the making. Yet, no one had more on the line than Rory. This wasn't just about a trophy, not just another major. It was about the career grand, Slam, the green jacket, and redemption. But the round didn't start like a fairy tale. It started like a battle. Rory's opening holes were full of tension. A missed fairway here, an awkward lie there. The weight of the moment seemed to hang on every shot. As The Guardian later quoted Rory, "The start wasn't great, but I knew I had to keep believing." And that belief, that unshakable will, is what carried him into the Masters history books. Something clicked on the back 9. It started on 13, Amen Corner, one of the most iconic and unforgiving holes in all of golf. Rory stared down a slippery, breaking birdie putt and drained it. The roar from the gallery echoed through the Georgia pines. That was the turning point, the spark. By the time he reached 15, the momentum was his. Rory was surging. The swing was looser, the walk faster, the eyes sharper. Augusta was no longer haunting him, it was fueling him. Then came 17. After a perfect tee shot, Rory fired one of the gutsiest approach shots of his career, a towering iron that sliced through the swirling wind and landed just 12 feet from the pin. The gallery could feel it. So could Rory. He walked up to that green like a man chasing fate, not just a flagstick. He nailed the putt. Another birdie. The charge was real. By the time he reached 18, Rory had pulled even with Justin Rose. But it wasn't over. He still had to save par on the final hole, the hole that had destroyed him 14 years earlier. One bad swing, and it would all be for nothing. He split the fairway, played a controlled approach, and stood over the par putt with the weight of the golfing world on his shoulders. Silence. Stroke. Cup. Boom. The roar from Augusta was deafening. He'd forced the playoff. Let's take another look at that final birdie putt. Slow motion. The crowd erupted. The fist pump. A decade in the making. That single moment. The confident walk. The clean contact. The quiet celebration. Was the culmination of everything Rory McIlroy had endured. It was the definition of clutch. And it was the moment the entire 2025 Masters flipped from just another Sunday to one of the greatest comebacks this sport has ever seen. But Rory wasn't done. One more hole. One final swing at destiny. What happened next took Augusta's breath away. Rory McIlroy versus Justin Rose. Legacy, redemption, history, all riding on one hole. This wasn't just golf anymore. This was theater. Moments earlier, Rory had drained his final par putt on 18, forcing the playoff. Justin Rose, who had led for most of the day, now found himself under pressure he hadn't felt in years. For Rory, this wasn't just about a green jacket. This was closure. The final chapter of a story written in heartbreak, criticism, and the unimaginable weight of expectations. And he knew it. As CBS Sports would later capture, McIlroy, after 11 years, finally had his moment. The 11-year wait was just one hole away from completion. You could see it in his eyes as he walked back to the tee, calm, focused, almost eerie in his composure. The ghost of 2011, gone. The scars of missed chances, faded. This was a man who knew the moment had finally arrived, and he wasn't going to let it slip. The playoff began on 18 again, familiar ground, but this time, Rory's swing was loose, fluid, free. He smoked his drive, dead center, the roar from the crowd, unmatched. It was unlike anything we'd heard all week. Rose followed but pulled his shot ever so slightly into the first cut. Then came Rory's approach, wedge in hand. The pin tucked back left, with danger lurking everywhere. He stepped up, fired a dart, landed it inside 10 feet, pure class, pure poise. The pressure was all on Rose now, and Rose cracked. His approach flew long, took a hard bounce, leaving him with a near-impossible downhill chip. He played it as best he could, but left himself with a tricky par putt to save. Now it was all in Rory's hands. If he converted, Augusta would finally be his. The crowd held its breath. Rory, standing over the birdie putt, 9 feet between him and immortality. The gallery was still, his caddy holding back a breath. One final read, one clean stroke, the putt dropped. And with it, the weight of a decade. The crowd exploded, Augusta shook. History was made. Seconds later, Justin Rose missed his par attempt, and just like that, Rory McIlroy was the 2025 Masters champion. As the Times reported, McIlroy triumphed in a dramatic sudden death playoff. They weren't exaggerating. Social media went into meltdown. Golf Digest called it the comeback of comebacks. Legends of the sport, Tiger, Faldo, and more, tipped their caps to a man who had stared down Augusta's shadow and finally conquered. This wasn't just a win, it was the win. But now that the green jacket is finally his, what comes next for Rory McIlroy? The green jacket is his. The Grand Slam is complete, and the legend of Rory McIlroy is forever etched into the heart of Augusta National. With that one birdie putt, that one pure, fearless stroke, Rory McIlroy is now in the most elite company in golf.